This one, very practical, very connected to the imagination, abundance, mindset, etc. How do I manifest my desires? What is the process of this? Well, the beauty of this is you're already constantly manifesting desires. You want to eat a piece of chocolate, you go eat it. You want to hang out with your friends, you go hang out with your friends. You want to walk to the park and play, you go walk to the park and play. Hopefully, well, I don't know how many people are still doing that, but maybe. Very simple, right? These are desires in which you have, and you're manifesting them on a very, very small basis. The issue with, as soon as you start thinking bigger, is that you actually don't understand the process that's already happening with these smaller manifestations. And this is why the understanding of, when I talk about principles like, hey, you throw a piece of paper in the garbage and you miss the bucket and you don't go pick it up, right? Those simple little details is what's actually the whole point of how you're going to manifest these bigger things, because everything is in those details. So it's the same thing with this. When you understand the process of small manifestation, very small manifestation desires, you will understand the bigger ones just the same. And it's the idea of being, firstly, conscious of this process, because generally, from a state of anger or something like this, anger or lashing out in any sort of emotion, it could be excitement as well, because anytime you're acting out in emotion, like positive emotion or negative emotion, it's still out of emotion, which is not in the center of balance, right? Which it should be. So when you act out in negative emotion, generally you actually think the action came before the thought. You think that it wasn't the process of, source, thinking, feeling, speaking, doing. You feel like there wasn't that process. You feel like the action just came, and then you thought about it after, and that's when you actually consciously understood the consequences of the action, right? But we need to realize, and this is what meditation is so beautiful at doing, is creating like a little vacuum or a void in between these sections. So there's not a time space. It's not like I'm thinking, I'm feeling, now I'm going to say it. No, there's none of that. But there's a vacuum, there's a separation, there's an observance of each of these little stages. So once you have that observance over these things, this is how you're able to kind of, I wouldn't say control all the manifestations, but be able to focus your attention or your energy into whatever one you really want. Because really, this process is not necessarily anything other than understanding how you're going to focus or kind of sink your energy into whatever thoughts you're having. Because generally your thoughts are constantly coming, right? You think a lot, they're coming. You have the choice in which ones you want to put emotion into. Because the emotion is what's manifesting, like we just figured out. As we feel the feeling, that's what's going to help us manifest. So it could be a negative feeling as well, and that's going to manifest something more negative. So as you're thinking things, they're just blank slates. It's just, okay, sentence, word, phrase, thought. It keeps coming by. It's just language. It's just a concept of language, really. So when you put emotion on top of that, that's what starts the manifestation process. That's what really gets it going. So when it comes to manifesting things, firstly, you can't resist any desire. Okay? There's no desire you need to resist. And me and Mike we're kind of like completely opposite on this. Mike was just like, don't resist any desire, and for the longest time I was resist all my desires. And go extreme, start fasting for 5 days, start doing all, I was resisting as much as I could. And then all of a sudden, as we learned of each other a lot, I started seeing the process of not resisting desire, right? When you don't resist desire, you may make mistakes, and you reap the negative or positive consequences off it, but you learn the lessons. You learn the consistent lessons of delving into desire. And generally these desires are the physical. Sex, drugs, food, like money, these type of lower desires that really we realize don't actually mean as much as we think they do. So as we delve into these, and we constantly realize that they're not giving us what we thought they would give, and we're just actually learning lessons from it through the pain, right? You're coming to a balance and understanding these distracting desires is the ones we want to watch away. And the deeper desires, the higher desires, the ones of contribution, creation, balancing, and understanding, those are the ones in which we want to sink into on a deeper level. So when we have it all washed away, as we've experienced many things in life, you come to this higher realization of, okay, now I know what I desire, right? I'm not confused about this anymore. I'm not questioning it all the time. And this is where the manifestation process becomes that much easier, because you're able to focus. So for a dude, you're walking down the street and you're focused on, I wanna change the world, I wanna manifest this project, and then a girl walks by and you're like, whoa, right? This is the idea of those distractions, those temptations in which pull you. So whenever you're able to fixate your energy on just the ones in which you know need to be manifested, you're not going to be distracted by these. Partially because you've already experienced it. Secondly is because you know what the real consequences of it are. Right? So the manifestation process is really quite simple. It's source, thinking, feeling, speaking, doing. So as you feel a very positive emotion, naturally the words are going to be very positive, obviously. And the actions are going to be, they're just going to follow suit. Very simple. It's a very, very, very simple process. And if we just understand simplicity, life really just becomes that much easier. So, I mean, it's really just a process of attention, and then obviously focusing in only this moment. And generally, as you're less distracted, you will only focus now. So you're not on Facebook while you're trying to do work, you're not like trying to like multitask things, you're just boom, 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 boom. Very focused, right? And actually a lot of people already have these principles instilled, so it's just trying to like consciously understand that. Next.